Hey guys, how's it going? This is Zero to Infinity from Crowd Control here, recasting Game 2 of Survival or Death versus Team Backdoor Insurance. So this has been a relatively exciting game so far. We're actually seeing again an Undying being banned as usual. Again, Undying is an extremely strong support during this current patch with Dota, just due to his tombstone having such low cooldown and just the ability to zap so much strength from an enemy hero on its stacks, so it just makes it easier to bring a hero down as quickly as possible. We are seeing Backdoor Insurance banning Storm Spirit. I'm assuming they're trying to reduce any type of mobile heroes that allows Team SoD to do a lot of chasing and bring them down and whatnot. So we're going to want to try to keep an eye out here to see what strategies may come out. As we saw in the previous game, there was quite a bit of, I would say, a lot of pushing from the Broodmother from Team SLD, which made it really frustrating for Backdoor Insurance to try to both defend the lane and actually win team fights. So that made it very hard for them to win the game itself. So we're seeing a Lina come out for Team Backdoor Insurance. Again, Lina offers a lot of utility, plus the fact that she can actually transition from a support to a semi-carry due to her passive increasing her attack speed, and she makes an excellent ganker, especially if there's another stun to work with her to basically allow her to chain her light strike array as well to do a chain stun from there. And also getting her ultimate along with her Aghanim Scepter actually makes it easier for her to bring down enemy carries very quickly. We're seeing Survival or Death bring out a Dazzle. Dazzle's actually been a very popular support as well. Most commonly, you're actually going to see him level up his weave to get to level 4 as quickly as possible, because once it gets to level 4, oh wait, sorry, I lied. Is it level 4? No, it's Poison Touch is what I want to talk about, because once you get Poison Touch to level 4, it actually not only does it slow down the target, but it actually stuns the target, so that's really important to get a chain stun. Typically, if you are picking a Dazzle, it's because you're trying to watch the Dazzle work together with a hero that needs to be in the middle of a big team fight. So you might see an Axe as a very popular complement with Dazzle, and even a Huskar as well, so that way you can use his Burning Spears over and over and over, get maximum attack speed without being bursted down as quickly. So we're going to actually see what the second pick is going to come out from here. We are seeing a Templar Assassin being banned from Backdoor Insurance. Templar Assassin offers a ton of burst damage, and typically if someone does pick a Templar Assassin, you just want to make sure you pick a hero with some type of DOT damage, so just a lot of damage over time. That way it procs her refractions, so that way it reduces the amount of damage she takes. The amount of damage that she outputs, and it also makes it much more difficult for her to deal more damage. Now we're seeing a Centaur Warrunner come out from Team SOD. The nice thing about the Centaur Warrunner, he's a great offlaner just because he's relatively tanky, but most teams end up picking the Warrunner because of his ultimate, which allows him to actually go through and chase down enemy heroes, and with an Axe Scepter upgrade, he's able to run through trees and cliffs and actually give his entire team a 60% damage reduction, which is awesome. We're seeing Axe being picked from Backdoor Insurance. So based on this pick right here, I'm assuming we're probably going to see an Axe go through and jump the enemy team as quickly as possible, and then allowing Lina to set up her Light Strike array to do a stun, follow with her is it Dragon Slave? Yeah, we'll follow for a Dragon Slave spell, just to do as much burst damage as possible, while Axe goes and finishes them off, and hopefully gets multiple dunks in a row. In case you guys don't know what dunks are, it's called a Coaling Blade, and we have made a joke with this. If an Axe is able to do 5 dunks in a row, we call it a Space Jam. Then you're then required to sing Space Jam, because it's pretty damn epic, and I thought that was pretty cool. Meantime, we're seeing a Earthshaker being banned from Backdoor Insurance. I think that's actually a pretty good ban, considering that Axe actually has to be in the middle of a team battle, so naturally his entire team is going to surround Axe to support him. With the Earthshaker staying in the background, he's able to offer a nice Fissure Stun, and then blink in and do an Echo Slam, which would really make it difficult for Axe to actually jump in. So I think that was actually a great ban for Axe. We're seeing Survival or Death actually ban the Lion for Backdoor Insurance. That's actually a pretty good ban as well, because Lion's stun or Hex actually sets it up very nicely for Lina to do a chain stun. And if you have a Lion and Lina together in the same team, they offer a whole ton of burst damage just because both of their ultimates synergize together very well. And naturally you'll want Lion to start with his ult first and then Lina finishing off, just because Lina's going to benefit more from gold and levels than Lion does. So from here, I think what Backdoor Insurance would most likely pick, it might be a Skywrath Mage. Skywrath Mage actually works very well with Axe, because what will happen is Axe can actually go in and coal people, and once everybody's attacking him, Skywrath Mage can pretty much cast his ult on anybody, and it does a huge ton of DOT, ton of DPS as well. So that way it makes it easier for Axe to secure a kill and get that dunk in. We are seeing a Silencer being banned from Backdoor Insurance. Silencer has actually been picked up a lot more since 6.83, just because people are starting to realize how annoying he can be. And I believe, too, that a Silencer just offers a whole ton of utility and harassment in the early laning phases. His ability to actually cast Last Word and silence the enemy heroes, as well as casting Curse of Silent, basically completely screws the other team's ability to casting spells and reduces their mana. And it looks like we have a Shadow Fiend being picked here from Survival or Death. Shadow Fiend, most likely from the Slain setup right now. We're probably going to see a Shadow Fiend mid with a Centaur offlane solo, and we're going to see a Stazzle going on the safe lane, with whichever carry they go with. Shadow Fiend, it's kind of a more challenging hero to play if you're a newer player, just because you're going to have to rely a lot on his raises to kill as many creeps as possible, but you have to be very good at denying as well. The way Shadow Fiend works is he has his passive, which actually gathers the amount of souls, which increases his damage, and the souls can actually be from both enemy creeps and also friendly creeps. So typically, if you are a Shadow Fiend player, most of the time Shadow Fiend will have the most denies in the game, just because him denying creeps actually allows him to boost his damage. And plus his other passive, Presence of the Dark Lord, I believe, that's right, actually produces a lot of armor. So it wouldn't surprise me if Survival or Death decides to pick up a Vengeful Spirit as well, just to get that further armor reduction, or perhaps even a Slardor, which would make ganking much more easier. Looks like Backdoor Insurance is picking up a Witch Doctor, which offers that second stun that we mentioned. That's going to make it much easier for Lina to actually chain her stun, and actually it's going to complement very well with Axe, because if Axe goes through and jumps multiple heroes, Witch Doctor is able to cast a stun, and it's going to cause the stun to bounce back and forth. Axe will hit them, and then Witch Doctor can pretty much throw an ult while Axe is going through and hitting everybody. So I think that's actually a very smart pick. I think what would be really good for Survival or Death right now is perhaps getting a Death Prophet or another hero that offers a silence, perhaps a Disruptor with his ult, because having a disruption spell being thrown on there with the silence is going to make it very difficult for Witch Doctor and Lina to have any type of damage output. So in the meantime, looks like Phantom Lancer was banned from Survival or Death. I think Survival or Death's reason for banning Phantom Lancer is because of his ability to chase with his particular passive, and also if he's able to get a Fusel Blade, it's going to wipe out a ton of mana from the enemy heroes. Plus, the other thing about Phantom Lancer is he's one hell of a pusher, especially once he gets his ultimate up, and he becomes pretty annoying to fight. I would say that he's probably more annoying to fight than Broodmother, minus the fact that Broodmother needs Sentry Wards, but Phantom Lancer is able to disappear from lane to lane to lane to lane, and if he's getting a Mantis out, he's just going to have so many illusion, it makes him very, very difficult to counter. Plus the fact that the Earthshaker was banned, it would make it very difficult for Survival or Death to actually counter a Phantom Lancer if Backdoor Insurance had picked it. So right now we're trying to keep an eye out for what the next hero is. So we see a Rubik being picked up. Rubik offers a lot of utility in team fights if he's fighting against enemy heroes who have very powerful spells. So it looks like Rubik is being used. I'm guessing it's because of Witch Doctor having his Death Ward ult, which basically makes it so the Witch Doctor cannot use any other spells during that time. And if Rubik's paying really close attention or positions himself right, he's going to be able to go through and steal the Death Ward very quickly and basically use it against the enemy team. It looks like we have Oscar Belmont saying, "What's up? How's it going, Oscar? I have no idea who you are, but I appreciate you tuning in and watching this channel." So let's see here. Now Backdoor Insurance is seeing a Rubik. At this point, I really think they're going to want to avoid heroes with big spells like Tidehunter and Enigma, because if you have a Tidehunter or an Enigma, well, Enigma more than anything else, it's going to make it very detrimental to their team when they get into team fights, because Rubik just basically has to stay out of range, and the minute somebody casts their big ult, Rubik's able to just go through and actually throw a spell on and, like I said, steal it. And it looks like a Disruptor is coming out from Backdoor Insurance. This is actually a really nice pick. Because if Axe goes in and calls everybody, Disruptor can throw the kinetic field, which keeps them from escaping. Disruptor can throw his ult up. So that's a very nice combo coming together. Plus, you throw that Witch Doctor in there. There's quite a bit of utility to be offered. The nice thing too is Axe doesn't have a lot of chasing power in early game without his Blink Dagger. So by using Disruptor with a glance, it's going to make it actually much easier for Axe to set up a Coiling Blade and basically initiate the enemy hero, take them down. I think the big hero they're really going to have to watch out for here that will really scale late game is going to be the Shadow Fiend. So it's going to be very important that they gank that Shadow Fiend as quickly as possible. Now we're seeing a Naga Siren come up. Naga Siren, so if anybody remembers TI2, Naga Siren was being picked up for, I believe, Invictus Gaming, which was one of the scariest things during the tournament because of Naga Siren's ultimate, which causes the song to come up and pretty much put everybody to sleep and sets everybody up for a nice big team fight. Although, from Survivor to Death's lineup right now, I'm not sure how that will synergize together because most likely Naga Siren's going to use the song to use as an escape. I don't really see a huge strong engagement, maybe unless she songs and then has Dazzle cast his ult on top of there. And we're seeing a Slark come out from Backdoor Insurance, which I think will be very useful in the offlane if, or actually maybe not even offlane, he could actually jump into the safe lane against the Centaur Warrunner, and it'll make it very difficult for Centaur Warrunner just because Slark's Essence Shift is going to take away more strength from Centaur Warrunner, bring his health down, and Slark's going to chase the Centaur Warrunner relatively easily. Oh sweet, it is Bobby. What's up, Bobby? Nice to see that you're watching me. Okay, so looks like we're going to have White Shark playing the Shadow Fiend, most likely going mid. I believe the Naga Siren will be going off in the safe lane, and the Rubik and Dazzle going to safe lane, Centaur off lane. Backdoor Insurance, I'm guessing, will probably have the Lina going mid, Slark off lane, Axe safe lane with the Witch Doctor on the bottom, and I think Disruptor may actually end up going on the top lane. Remaining. So here we begin. We got the first match going already, and let's see what we got going on here. Let's see what everybody's items are here. So we got an early smoke being purchased by the Disruptor, as well as an Enchanted Mango. Now I don't think Enchanted Mango is being bought up enough lately in these games. As we're seeing in the TI playoffs right now, Enchanted Mango is actually a fantastic item for heroes who have mana problems, because if you're in a lane and you're being harassed over and over, the Enchanted Mango will give you essentially better health regeneration. But if you are bursting a lot of spells at once, Enchanted Mango will allow you to give you an instant 150 mana. So if you have any spells that need to be cast immediately, or you're trying to set up a gank, you don't have to worry about your mana coming up. You can immediately consume the Enchanted Mango, which will make it much easier for you to go through and get the gank going through. Carried, sorry. So, based on the lanes here, it looks like we actually have the Axe going top. He's going to have to be careful because it looks like most of the Radiant team is waiting for him in the top rune. Based on this lineup, I mean, Backdoor Insurance is going to have no problem securing that bottom rune, but if Axe goes in on his top rune itself, he's going to have a lot of trouble. We can already see multiple heroes getting ready to come in and gank whoever goes up top, so they're going to need to be very careful. It doesn't look like it's going to be safe. It looks like Lina does spot the Naga Siren and the Shadow Fiend, and it looks like they decide to back off. So it looks like both teams were able to secure the bounty rune for each other. And we're actually seeing the Axe go off lane with the Slark going safe lane and the Lina going mid. And in the meantime, we're actually seeing Shadow Fiend and Rubik go mid, Centaur off lane, and then a Dazzle and Naga Siren going into safe lane for the Dire. So as you guys can see already, we have a very early ward coming from the Axe. This is going to be extremely helpful just to make sure it keeps his vision protected right there in case anybody comes up and sets up for a gank. At this point, Axe does want to get some gold if he can, but being in the off lane and he's dealing with a Dazzle who's a distance range support, it's going to make it very difficult for him to farm. So he just needs to make sure he's close enough range that he can actually soak up some of the extra experience. In the meantime, it looks like this Rubik's actually just going to come through and try to harass Lina, basically keeping her out of lane so the Shadow Fiend can farm. It looks like this Rubik's just going to be supporting the Shadow Fiend. Now, it's going to be difficult for Rubik to gain any levels because most likely he's laning, but he doesn't want to stay too close to Shadow Fiend because that's going to affect the amount of experience that the Shadow Fiend can get. Looks like he places a nice ward there. Gives the Shadow Fiend some vision of this top rune. And in the meantime, on the bottom lane here, we're actually seeing 2 wards pop up. I really like that ward right there because it actually gives you vision of the top rune and this entire area right here, so that way if any of the enemy team comes through to try to gank your safe lane carry, you're able to spot them. And in the meantime, we actually see an observer ward coming from the Dire side. This is generally used to actually block the lanes, and it looks like the Witch Doctor did put down a sentry ward, and it will spot that observer ward and brings that down. That's going to be an easy 150 gold, and it's going to make it much more difficult for Centaur to spot anything that may be occurring. So he's going to have to play it safe, just like the Axe, in terms of staying in the lane, maybe not getting as much gold as possible, but he is going to want to soak up that experience to get that early level 6 to make it easier for his team to run in for a gank or perhaps give his team some form of escape. And in the meantime here, it looks like Dazzle already set up a pull for his safe lane carry, and it looks like they're actually trying to do a double pull to pull this creep over. Now guys, one of the reasons you're going to want to stack this camp right here before you go and pull your creeps is because your creeps generally will be able to kill. Oh, looks like I got a first blood already. My bad, missed that. Well, looks like the Slark was able to pull up a nice kill on a Centaur Warrunner. Again, he doesn't actually have the Essence Shift in there, but if he had the Essence Shift, I would have done some damage as well. But like I was saying, the reason why you want to actually stack this camp right here before you go and pull this lane is because your creeps will generally be able to kill this entire camp on their own. And what happens is they'll then come up and pull through this area and meet up with the next set of creeps that are coming, and it will actually change the momentum of your lane and push them forward, which actually pushes lane closer to this tower and makes it easier for the enemy offlaner to farm. So you always want to make sure you at least stack this camp before you pull it, so that way it wipes out all your creeps and pulls momentum towards your lane. Or perhaps after your creeps finish this camp, pulling this camp here upwards to eliminate your wave, so that way it keeps the wave momentum in your safe lane carry's favor. In the meantime, this would actually be a really good example of a nice pull. We already see this camp being stacked, and it's actually pulling it back for the Slark nicely here. He's going to get some safe farm, unharassed by anybody. Centaur Warrunner really has no choice but just to get close enough to soak up some experience. He's not going to be able to engage them because it's going to be underneath the tower, plus the fact that the Witch Doctor is going to have the ability to cast a stun. It looks like the Centaur is actually trying to go and finish off the Witch Doctor. He's not able to do it because the Slark was too close. He's going to have to retreat before he gets focused down or stunned down. In the meantime, looks like the Lina is farming relatively well. She's got her bottle already, and she is 1 level away from getting her ultimate, which will make it very easy for her to actually go through and gank the enemy heroes, particularly the Rubik, just because his health is extremely low, and it makes him very, very squishy. Alright, let's take a look and see what our last hits are. So it looks like the Shadowfiend and Naga are farming relatively well. The Lina is actually being harassed out lane quite a bit from the enemy Rubik, but you know, it may not necessarily be a bad thing because this Rubik is actually going to be under-leveled here. As we can see, he's level 2 while everybody else is at least level 3. Well, it doesn't look like the Witch Doctor's doing too well himself. But that's one of the disadvantages of having a roaming support. It does make it easier for your other lanes to go through and carry ganks, but it does make him severely under-leveled. And with the Rubik, you're going to want to get him to his level 6 as quickly as possible, so that way during team fights he's able to steal enemy ults and actually use it against their team. Now, one thing I'm actually seeing from Team SoD here, looks like they have not upgraded their Flying Courier. You know, in general rule, I mean, you want to get the Flying Courier up as soon as possible, but I try not to go past 5 minutes to get a Flying Courier because that Flying Courier really makes a world of difference for your mid lane hero, especially if they have a bottle. And at this point, Shadowfiend is actually going to want to send a courier back with the bottle 1 charge, so that way he can bottle crow and have a little bit more utility unless the Intensive contest for the bottom rune. It looks like we actually have a gank coming in from the Disruptor and the Witch Doctor here, and he is going to be brought down by the Lina. That's a big kill for Lina because she's actually needing to get her farm up as quick as possible, considering that the Rubik and Shadowfiend was harassing her out of the lane. So that was a nice pick off for Lina. And she's got her Laguna Blade already, and at this point she can pretty much go through and roam lanes and start bursting her ultimate to take them down. I would say it'd be wise for her to go up top to actually take out the Naga Siren, but it looks like she's waiting for the 6-minute rune to get her bottle recharged, so that way she can actually go top lane maybe? Well, she doesn't. Looks like she's actually going to go back mid to farm. I really feel at this point it could have been better for the Lina to actually go through top lane and actually eliminate that Naga Siren as quickly as possible, just to make it easier for Axe to get some additional farm so he can actually offer a little bit more in team fights. Plus the fact that Naga Siren is not a late game carry you want to have farmed and get online, because like Phantom Blaster, she offers a lot of pushing power, which makes her very frustrating to deal with. And that was actually something that gave Backdoor Insurance quite a bit of trouble in the last game when the Broodmother wasn't ganked early enough. And it looks like we have the Slark actually jumping the Central War Runner here, and it looks like the Central War Runner is going to go down. Oh, he doesn't. He was not being stunned, so luckily for him. Otherwise, I feel like the Slark actually would have killed him there. I think if he actually may have just put 1 point in Essence Shift, he would have secured that kill. I think it's generally not a bad idea to go for a 1-1-1 build with Slark, just to have points and everything to offer some ganking power. And then maxing your Dark Pact first, then maxing, and then putting 1 point in jump, so that way, or sorry, pounce, so that way you can actually escape. In the meantime, it looks like the Witch Doctor actually rotated up top to actually support the Axe. He's really going to need it because he's falling him quite a bit behind in farm right now. And again, it looks like the farm's actually going fairly well for Dire side. Let's see what their net worth is currently at. Yeah, Naga Siren and Shadow Fiend are actually doing really well right now, and that's something you do not want to have happen, considering that those are two very strong carries. In the meantime, it looks like the Centaur Roar Runner is actually trying to run around here. I think he's trying to look for the Disruptor to spot him out and catch him off guard. I don't think it's going to be a good idea for him to engage the Slark right now. The Slark is going to be a very tough target to kill for the Centaur Roar Runner without some other team member to pop a stun. Plus the fact that the Slark has his ultimate, which is pretty much a free Shadow Blade, plus Heart of Tarrasque, plus, I don't know, it's pretty, I think it's pretty a ridiculous ult. It's actually one of my favorite ults. It offers a lot of utility. We see a Disruptor actually stacking the farm. Stacking the creeps here already. I'm assuming it's probably 4 to Slark, so that way he can really utilize the farm as quick as possible. We see him securing the bounty room. I played a game last night, guys. If your mid laner is not able to secure both runes, go and grab the runes as possible. It's better that you have one of your supports grab the runes than having the enemy mid grab the rune and having some type of way to refill their bottle and keeping their presence in lane. So make sure you harass runes. If you can't get to it in time, maybe deny it if you're a ranged creep. It looks like the Axe is able to harass the Naga Siren now, and he's going to take this farm here, which he definitely needs. He's already got his Trinkle Boots up. I think it'd be a good idea if he starts saving for his Blink, which is what he looks like he's doing. Generally, Axe, I don't see him play an offlane very often. I usually see him play a jungle role. He's a very effective jungler, and from what I've seen in a lot of games, you usually want to get your Trinkle Boots, and as soon as you engage a jungle creep, you actually want to drop the boots, fight the jungle camp, and then pick the boots back up, so that way it doesn't trigger the cooldown. It allows Axe to instantly regenerate his health, so he doesn't have to wait. And we see Disruptor actually stacking a nice camp for stack. Oh, so that's what it was actually Axe step. He's going to use that farm. That actually worked out really well for him. We are seeing a ultimate pop out from the Central Roar Runner as he tries to escape from the Slark. Looks like the Slark is actually going to be able to bring him down, and he's going to run away. And the Rubik brings him down. That was a quick response to Rubik. Unfortunately, the Central Roar Runner does go down there, along with the Slark. Otherwise, the Slark would have been able to get some nice farm here. I think it might be a good idea for the Slark to actually pick up a, I believe, Venomous Orb, because it's going to offer him some slow when he attacks and some damage over time. And against somebody like Central Roar Runner, it's actually not a bad item, because Central Roar Runner, a lot of his skills rely on him taking parts of his life off to do some damage. So he's going to be a little bit lower health already. Plus the fact that he has Essence Shift, and looks like this Witch Doctor is going to be in trouble. We see Naga Siren setting him up with her ultimate, and we have 3 heroes engaging the Witch Doctor. Does not have a chance to survive, and Alina's going to go through and actually finish off the Dazzle. I think she was trying to chase after the Naga Siren, and you know, I don't think the Laguna Blade would have brought her down, but she is trying pretty hard to bring down the Naga Siren as quickly as possible. Will she be able to do it? Looks like this Naga Siren is trying really hard to juke her, and Lina was able to bring down Naga Siren. That's a big kill. It's going to hurt Team SoD quite a bit, because she was actually farming decently well. It's going to put her behind. It's actually going to move the Lina and Slark up in farm. In the meantime, the Shadow Fiend has just been staying here, and he's about to get his back up already. He's only 700 gold away. That's going to make him extra tanky in team fights. Also, start pushing those lanes as quickly as possible. Oh, looks like he actually got his mechanism up already. It's very quick. That works out in his advantage. That's actually nice. Typically, when you see Shadow Fiends play, maybe it's just because of my pub mentality, but you see a lot of Shadow Fiends play fairly selfishly, and I don't see too many of them pick up Mechanism, even though it's actually a pretty good pickup for them. But considering the new 6.84 patch, I'm not sure. It was discussed by Purge, I believe, or actually, no, it was discussed by Cinderin and Sunsfan, that don't actually see Shadow Fiends and Vipers pick up Mechanism as much due to the presence of something called Guardian Greaves, and it might be a more common item to have supports re-pick it back up again. Because with Shadow Fiend just being a core hero, it's probably better for bigger damage items like Daedalus, Butterfly. Perhaps getting his Shadow Blade and converting it to a Silver Edge as soon as possible would be very, very helpful. In the meantime, it looks like the Shadow Fiend is going to go through and roam, so Dazzle's actually going to take over this mid lane here, trying to get some experience in some farm, which he definitely needs. Supports are pretty poor, so generally if you can't be in team fights, you just want to make sure you take over any lanes when there's no heroes present, so that way you're not wasting any potential farm or XP. It looks like the Disruptor is actually going to pick up the Invisibility rune here. This is actually fairly useful rune for Disruptor because it's going to make it easier for him to set up his kinetic field along with his glimpse. So he's going to have to be careful. There's a sentry ward here. He's going to be caught off guard by the Shadow Fiend, and he's going to be brought down. And it looks like Delina has a very nice double kill against the Dazzle and Shadow Fiend right there. So actually, there's some very nice team fight. Went really well in Backdoor Insurance's favor. So Disruptor, so 2 support going down for their core hero as support. I say that's a fairly good trade. And it looks like Lina is actually going to start building her Yule Scepter up as quickly as possible. Yule Scepter, guys, it offers a lot of decent movement speed, mana regeneration, but the other thing that's really nice about it is it's a fairly cheap item to give you a pseudo stun, where you're able to tornado somebody up in the air. They may be invincible, but for Lina, it's very nice in the fact that it sets her up for a light strike array to chain stun, cast her Dragon Slave, and basically start focusing down the hero as quickly as possible for right clicks.
Not in a good way.
In the meantime, looks like the Naga Siren's actually going to start farming all the camps and actually split her camps across. If you guys want a really nice video to see how to farm effectively Naga Siren, search up a video of Arteezy playing as Naga Siren, and I think he gets his GPM up to, was it 1400 or 1200? He basically has his Naga Siren farm every single lane possible. It's actually very, very... it's not quite a tutorial, but it's a very nice game to watch. And it looks like the Observer Ward is going to be de-warded by the Dire side. Or, sorry, Radiant side. So it looks like we have a team engagement going down in the middle here. The Shadow Fiend is going to go through and cast his ult. It's going to bring down the Witch Doctor, and the Dazzle casting the Shallow Grave on the Shadow Fiend, as well as his ultimate to give him some additional armor. That's actually a really nice combo because, like I mentioned earlier, Dazzle's ultimate actually reduces enemy armor over time, and on top of that, it boosts your own team's armor. And with Shadow Fiend having his presence as Dark Lord, it actually makes it very easy for him to do additional damage to enemy heroes, and essentially, like Happy said, they're actually mini crits over and over and over again. In the meantime, we actually see a Witch Doctor staying bot, again trying to soak up any type of experience or mana that he, or gold that he can, so that way he can start getting some items farmed. Ideally, I think it's a good idea to build a BKB first over Aghanim Scepter, but I mean it really depends on the game itself. If you have facing against a team with a lot of stuns or disables, it's a good idea to get BKB, so it makes it so it's easier for you to cast your Death Ward. And it looks like this axe is actually going to be brought down by the Dazzle. Disruptor is actually going to bring down Central Runner. Rubik is not going to get away here. I think Lina would actually be able to finish this Dazzle. Nice light strike array. Just going to right click him down, but the tower's going to bring down to Lina here. We got a 2-for-4 exchange. Was not in not in Team SoD's favor. So looks like the Shadow Fiend and Lina are actually the top farmers at the current moment, getting quite a bit of farm. And we have the Naga Siren coming in at a close second with Slark and Axe bringing in the 4th and 5th positions here. And the Dazzle and the Witch Doctor are going to be fairly low farm right now. I think this is going to be more detrimental to the Dazzle than the Witch Doctor, because the Witch Doctor can still offer quite a lot in team fights without having any items, whereas Dazzle, the main thing he can really offer is his Shallow Grave heal and his ult. If he can't even stay alive during that time frame, it's going to make him one of the first targets that gets shot down as well. Alright, it looks like we're going to have a Shadow Fiend, and Dazzle will actually wander back mid. I think they're actually going to try to refarm up. They're going to need to watch out for Disruptor, Witch Doctor here. There may be a chance it may go in for the gank. In the meantime, we actually see Naga Siren farming this jungle, and I think the Slark is actually trying to look for a kill. And he's going to get spotted. It looks like the Lina is actually going to come in. I think she's going to help them try to push a top lane as soon as possible. They're going to catch at their illusions, so they're not going to waste their big spells on there. I think they're going to try to signal and take down that top tower as soon as possible, just to give their team some nice gold advantage. And it looks like Dire has the exact same idea as well, trying to bring that lane down. It looks like the glyph is popped. Now, that's actually a nice change. Oh, wait, looks like the Slark is going to be stunned by the Rubik. He's going to cast his Purge to get away, and they're able to chase off Dire from bringing down that tower. So one thing I want to mention was that they popped the glyph right there on the tier 1 tower. Before, there was when you actually use your glyph, you had to actually wait. I believe it's a 5-minute duration before you can actually recast a glyph again. But in the last patch, I think it was 6.83 or 6.82, they made it so if the tier 1 towers get broken down, your glyph instantly recharges on the cooldown time. We're going to see the axe go down right there, and the kinetic field's going to pop up directly from the Disruptor along with his ultimate. We're going to see the axe go down, this Witch Doctor go down, and the Shadow Fiend's able to stay alive with the mechanism. Barely gets away, as well as starts bottling up. That fight did not go well for them at all. That mechanism really saved the Shadow Fiend there. And it looks like the Disruptor gets brought down as well. Slark's going to try to get salvage something out of the fight by bringing down a Centaur War Runner. Unfortunately, he's going to end up losing the mid tower here. Maybe he's either going to lose this mid tower here, or he's going to lose a top tower, because both towers are actually being pushed pretty quickly here. Naga Siren is going to bring this tower extremely quickly with her multiple illusions. She's automatically going to send one of her illusions out to distract